My dear Suzanne, take my hand, please. Don't let them take me away. No. Oh, no, this has to stop. I don't want to be tormented anymore.
That is not my intention. I have come to rescue you.
Rescue me? But what on earth are you?
It is of no importance. What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
I had frightful visions, rageful wraiths filled with pain and sorrow. And it was cold enough to curdle the blood. Oh, it's impossible to describe. All the rage and anger. I was in another body, I think. So big, so powerful. And there was this commanding voice, ordering me to spread terror and death. Did I really hear it? Or did I momentarily lose my mind?
What did you see?
Rageful wraiths filled with pain and sorrow. And it was cold enough to curdle the blood. Oh, it's impossible to describe. All the rage and anger. I was in another body, I think. So big, so powerful. And there was this commanding voice, ordering me to spread terror and death. Did I really hear it? Or did I momentarily lose my mind?
What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
I had frightful visions, rageful wraiths filled with pain and sorrow. And it was cold enough to curdle the blood. Oh, it's impossible to describe. All the rage and anger. I was in another body, I think. So big, so powerful. And there was this commanding voice, ordering me to spread terror and death. Did I really hear it? Or did I momentarily lose my mind?
What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
I had frightful visions, rageful.
Who are you, monsieur?
Don't you know? I'm Jacques Necker, Ministre des Finances. Well, I was before I was captured. that this situation suggests that the king has decided to dismiss me from his service.
What does he accuse you of?
My alleged connivance with the Third Estate, no doubt. And, most of all, for having been the first to ask to convene the Estates General.
Who are you, monsieur?
Don't you know? I'm Jacques Necker. Ministre... Well, at this situation...
What does he...
My alleged and most...
How and when were you captured?
When the machines attacked, my wife and I fled our home to hide not far from there, in the Église Sainte-Marie. But we didn't stand a chance against the machines. They overran the nave, wantonly mowing down the faithful. My wife, my poor wife, she wasn't able to escape. I'm sadly convinced of this. As for me, my life was spared only so I could be tormented. What is the meaning of all this?
What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
I had frightful visions, rageful wraiths filled with pain and sorrow. And it was cold enough to curdle the blood. Oh, it's impossible to describe. All the rage and anger. I was in another body, I think. So big, so powerful. And there was this commanding voice, ordering me to spread terror and death. Did I really hear it? Or did I momentarily lose my mind?
What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
I had frightful visions, rageful wraiths filled with pain and sorrow. And it was cold enough to curdle the blood. Oh, it's impossible to describe. All the rage and anger. I was in another body, I think. So big, so powerful. And there was this commanding voice, ordering me to spread terror and death. Did I really hear it? Or did I momentarily lose my mind?
Who are you, monsieur?
Don't you know? I'm Jacques Necker, Ministre des Finances. Well, I was before I was captured. But this situation suggests that the king has decided to dismiss me from his service.
What does he accuse you of?
My alleged connivance with the Third Estate, no doubt. And, most of all, for having been the first to ask to convene the Estates General.
Who are you, monsieur?
Don't you know? I'm Jacques Necker, Ministre des Finances. Well, I was before I was captured. But this situation suggests that the king has decided to dismiss me from his service.
What does he accuse you of?
My alleged connivance with the Third Estate, no doubt. And, most of all, for having been the first to ask to convene the Estates General.
How and when were you captured?
When the machines attacked, my wife and I fled our home to hide not far from there, in the Église Sainte-Marie. But we didn't stand a chance against the machines. They overran the nave, wantonly mowing down the faithful. My wife, my poor wife, she wasn't able to escape. I'm sadly convinced of this. As for me, my life was spared only so I could be tormented. What is the meaning of all this?
What will you do now?
There is no future for me in this kingdom. I need to find a safe place where I can prepare for my departure as soon as possible.
Go to the Cordelier convent. You will be safe there. No survivors. Artanias' hiding place. A fight took place here. Franciscus Antonius. What unusual names. Whose cane could this be? Perhaps the guests at the Cordelier can enlighten me.
la bonne heure, she's back.
Aegis, what a joy and relief to see you again.
Monsieur.
Welcome to our stronghold. I'm sure that everyone here is aware of the great debt we all owe you. As you can see, the most exhausted among us are growing stronger.
While the most determined are already planning our counterattack.
I did not expect to see you all together.
4 days ago, the representatives of the Third Estate gathered in a tennis court. They swore not to separate until they had established a constitution for the nation. But that was not the only oath we swore. All the honorable men who were at Versailles, representatives and patriots, members of the Club Breton, secretly swore to meet here if they were dispersed.
You, Aegis, have allowed them to gather once again. Though unfortunately many are missing, we still have hope.
I did not expect to see you all together.
4 days ago, the representatives of the Third Estate gathered in a tennis court. They swore not to separate until they had established a constitution for the nation. But that was not the only oath we swore. All the honorable men who were at Versailles, representatives and patriots, members of the Club Breton, secretly swore to meet here if they were dispersed.
You, Aegis, have allowed them to gather once again. Though unfortunately many are missing, we still have hope.
I did not expect to see you all together.
4 days ago, the representatives of the Third Estate gathered in a tennis court. They swore not to separate until they had established a constitution for the nation. But that was not the only oath we swore. All the honorable men who were at Versailles, representatives and patriots, members of the Club Breton, secretly swore to meet here if they were dispersed.
You, Aegis, have allowed them to gather once again. Though unfortunately many are missing, we still have hope.
Why did you choose to meet in this convent?
It was my idea. Voyez-vous, I stay here whenever my obligations bring me to Paris. No other retreat inspires such peace and contemplation. Et puis, truth be told, this building has always felt like a fortress to me. Just look at how thick these walls are.
For 2 whole days, the patriots in the quarter consolidated the outer walls to make it an impenetrable citadel. No automat has broken through our defenses yet.
Why did you choose to meet in this convent?
It was my idea. Voyez-vous, I stay here whenever my obligations bring me to Paris. No other retreat inspires such peace and contemplation. Et puis, truth be told, this building has always felt like a fortress to me. Just look at how thick these walls are.
For 2 whole days, the patriots in the quarter consolidated the outer walls to make it an impenetrable citadel. No automat has broken through our defenses yet.
Where are the monks, mon père?
They are secluded in their quarters, praying for the salvation of the people of Paris. However, we bear no illusions. We are weak, we are divided.
And we are unarmed. Without you, without your warrior strength, we have no chance of turning things around.
You are sent by heaven above, Aegis. From now on, you may consider the Cordelia Convent your headquarters and a welcome refuge.
We must speak, you and I, in private, if you please. Monsieur de Lafayette must not hear a word of what I'm about to tell you.
What do you mean? You all seem to be certain that I will use my strengths to serve your cause. Are you forgetting that I have a task to accomplish?
Not at all, madame. We all know and support your plan to free Monsieur de Vaucanson. That is why I've taken the time to think of a way for you to get to the Bastille.
I am listening.
There is a patriot in Paris whose pamphlets have aroused Monsieur de Lafayette's ire. His anger is so strong that the poor man had to disappear to escape arrest. I know that he is secretly hiding in the quarries in Montmartre. A labyrinth he is said to know like the back of his hand. If anyone can help you navigate the obstacles that keep you from the Bastille, it is the elusive Monsieur Marat.
Very well. I will go and find him.
Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the Marais, in the shadow of the Bastille.
I found a broken cane. It says Franciscus Antonius on it. Do you know who it belongs to?
Well, I never. Yes, I know the owner. And I'm willing to bet you're looking for a certain François Antoine.
That's right.
Well, you'd need to look a little further east, mademoiselle. Across the Rhine for a start. Because this cane belongs, or belonged, to a certain Franz Anton Mesmer.
Mesmer, the Prince of Charlatans. It's been a long time since I've heard his name.
5 years to be exact since your learned commission denounced his theories.
It wasn't long after that when he disappeared.
Can you tell me more about Mesmer?
He was a mystical healer who was once popular with the upper class. I myself attended several of his sessions.
You mentioned a commission.
The king did not look kindly on the healer's popularity within the court. This led him to appoint a commission from the Royal Academy of Sciences, an institution to which Monsieur Lavoisier and I have the honor to belong. We were asked to investigate his alleged powers. The experiments that we performed allowed us to determine that Monsieur Mesmer's activities were pure charlatanism, a conclusion that destroyed his successful career the moment it was published.
You dismiss Monsieur Lavoisier's remarks rather hastily. He doesn't shout it from the rooftops, but in his opinion there was still something. A tiny flow of energy that his devices were able to measure.
However, his observations could never be reproduced. It was obviously a momentary failure of his equipment, though he stubbornly refuses to believe it.
When and how did Monsieur Mesmer disappear?
The denunciation of his techniques was the start of a long descent into hell for Monsieur Mesmer. He was abandoned by his clients and resumed his research in virtual secrecy. I think he was hoping to perfect his so-called science and restore his reputation with the Academy.
A hope that led him to associate himself with that dastardly Cagliostro. God only knows what experiments they may have carried out. In any case, their collaboration did not last long. Monsieur Mesmer left the kingdom overnight to return to his mother country.
Why did he leave so quickly?
That is a mystery. But those who saw him that morning say it was as if he had the devil at his heels. He left in such a hurry that he abandoned everything he owned: furniture, belongings, and scientific equipment.
Well, if what you say is true, that broken cane must have passed into the Count's hands.
Yes, it's likely.
This adventurer from who knows where is quite the mysterious character. And he has been very busy recently. I've been able to observe him from my apartments, making frequent visits to Rue Saint-Honoré, on the Tuileries side. I wonder what he was doing there.
What were Monsieur Mesmer's theories?
He supported an imprecise theory he called animal magnetism. He claimed to be able to channel a purported universal healing fluid by passing his hands over patients and using magnets.
He also cobbled together a whole array of mad devices, each stranger than the last. Unfortunately, despite all his attempts, I don't know that he ever cured anyone.
What happened during Monsieur Mesmer's treatment sessions?
Oh, they were quite a spectacle to behold. Imagine well-born ladies afflicted with perfectly imaginary illnesses. A dimly lit room where incense has been burned to intoxicate the soul and cloud your vision. Amiable servants, half-dressed, gliding from countess to duchess, to the sound of a sensual melody. And the great Mesmer, a doctor with wandering hands, presiding over the wonderful scene. Oh, you should have seen them. Those grand ladies moaning, crying, and falling into a swoon, clinging to that strange tub. Du théâtre, ma chère. Pure theater.
Eh bien. Do you come bearing news from Monsieur Marat?
No, not yet.
I have it on good authority that he is in the quarries in Montmartre. He's the only person who could show you a way to reach the Bastille. Don't forget.
Is your plan to arm the populace going as planned?
Oh, far from it, madame. The situation is hopeless. Even if they were armed and formed into battalions, the Patriots would not be able to fight.
Why is that?
Most of the strategic points in the city are inaccessible. A strange illness strikes all who try. They are seized by an irrational fear, one so great that those who do not lose consciousness go mad or perish on the spot. This makes it impossible to do anything. Any attempt at an uprising is a fool's errand.
The locations you mentioned share a common feature. A statue holding a lantern.
That's right. From what little I could make out, they appear to be depictions of a Vestal Virgin watching over the sacred fire.
Une lanterne des morts!
What do you mean, monsieur?
Lanterns of the dead. Ancient stone pillars that are found near some cemeteries. Our ancestors kept a fire going on top of them. Today, no one knows what they were used for. A symbol of light triumphing over darkness, perhaps? Others claim that human bones, mercury and lime, were burnt there. Some odious sorcery that was meant to entrap the tormented souls that wandered around the burial grounds.
That makes sense and confirms my observations. I'm now certain that the King's lanterns capture the anima essence of the dead who have been cast into purgatory. And that this essence is what allows the automats to stay in motion, without needing a key to wind them.
Pater noster qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum.
Now that I think about it, madame, you obviously are not subject to the harmful effects of these lanterns.
No, au contraire. When activated, these statues reveal an apparatus that allows me to repair myself.
It follows that if you destroy these lanterns, the people will be free to fight again.
Unfortunately, they are preternaturally strong. Nothing can so much as damage them.
If only Monsieur Lavoisier were with us, he would surely be able to solve this conundrum.
Are you making any progress with your projects?
No, madame. At this time, we have not yet found a solution to the problem posed by these lanterns. If only Monsieur Lavoisier were with us, he would surely be able to solve this conundrum.
Were you present when the Estates General was dissolved?
Oui, madame. I had a front row seat. I witnessed what it cost to defy the crown. We laid bare before the king the abject misery of his subjects. It was more than he could suffer. So he had the people's representatives dispersed by means of bayonets. At least we only had to contend with soldiers made of flesh and blood. Positively angelic compared to the machines that have swept through Paris.
Goodbye, Monsieur de Robespierre. Monsieur Bailly.
Ah, mademoiselle. I am very pleased to find you here with us within the shelter of these walls.
I found a document written in a script that I was unable to read.
Let me see. Ah, je vois. These pages were written using some sort of shorthand. A variation on Taylor's system, no doubt. I'm wont to use it myself from time to time while jotting down my ideas as they come.
What does it say?
It's a bit difficult to decipher. Je crois. I believe it's an autopsy report. The author writes that the subject died from a large dose of prussic acid.
What is prussic acid?
My apologies, Aegis, but I'm no chemist. You should ask Monsieur Lavoisier.
Goodbye, Monsieur B.
Aegis, a word, s'il vous plaît.
Aegis, wait just a moment, je vous prie.
Monsieur Necker, you took my advice.
I owe you my life, madame. So I'm embarrassed to ask you for anything more.
Do not fear. You have my full attention.
Suzanne, my beloved wife. I cannot bring myself to accept her death. Despite all the evidence, I still hope to see her alive again. I need to be sure. Mon Dieu. What have I done to deserve such a fate? Why has the king sworn to destroy me? And all that I hold dear. After everything I've done for him. My abnegation.
Why would the king owe you anything?
I dedicated my life to the kingdom as his minister. Well, my life and my fortune as well. I refused to accept any remuneration for my services in order to keep the accounts balanced. And I personally filled the king's coffers with 2.5 million livres from my own private accounts, bonds in the Caisse d'Escompte, which the king keeps in a tailor-made armoire d'affaires in the Palais des Tuileries. He stores all his secrets there. I'd wager there's enough in there to sully his reputation 100 times over. You must retrieve these bonds post-haste, madame. They must not be used to allow this madman to build more murderous automats.
Do I have any chance of opening it?
Don't even think about it, madame. Despite your incredible strength, that safe is said to be impenetrable. It was designed precisely to that effect. I personally never had access to it. I suppose that its contents were too unofficial for the honest minister that I always was.
Who has the key?
The king does, that's for sure.
Anyone else?
How could I know? His shadow advisors, most likely. Now that I think about it, there's a rumor that has been going round Versailles for a while now. It's said that Monsieur de Mirabeau used to come and go as he pleased at the Tuileries, that he oversaw diplomatic missions for the crown. Not in any official capacity, of course. Who knows? He might know more about this matter than I do.
I will ask him. Why would the king owe you anything?
I dedicated my life to the kingdom as his minister. Well, my life and my fortune as well. I refused to accept any remuneration for my services in order to keep the accounts balanced. And I personally filled the king's coffers with 2.5 million livres from my own private accounts, bonds in the Caisse d'Escompte, which the king keeps in a tailor-made armoire d'affaires in the Palais des Tuileries. He stores all his secrets there. I'd wager there's enough in there to sully his reputation 100 times over. You must retrieve these bonds post-haste, madame. They must not be used to allow this madman to build more murderous automats.
Do I have any chance of opening it?
Don't even think about it, madame. Despite your incredible strength, that safe is said to be impenetrable. It was designed precisely to that effect. I personally never had access to it. I suppose that its contents were too unofficial for the honest minister that I always was.
Who has the key?
The king does, that's for sure.
Anyone else?
How could I know? His shadow advisors, most likely. Now that I think about it, there's a rumor that has been going round Versailles for a while now. It's said that Monsieur de Mirabeau used to come and go as he pleased at the Tuileries, that he oversaw diplomatic missions for the crown. Not in any official capacity, of course. Who knows? He might know more about this matter than I do.
I will ask him. I will look into what happened to your wife.
Bless you, madame.
Where should I start my investigation?
In the Faubourg Saint-Germain, east of Les Invalides. We were separated in the Église Sainte-Marie, on Rue de Bourgogne.
I shall be off.
You are the only hope of seeing my beloved wife again, and of foiling the plans of the clockwork tyrant.
Eh bien, Aegis, did you make sure my men managed to collect the cargo?
No. I haven't gone there yet.
Et alors? What are you waiting for? This is a matter of the utmost importance. The exchange was to take place near the Église du Gros Caillou, the town next to Les Invalides.
Goodbye, Monsieur le Marquis.
Eh bien, Aegis, did you make sure my men managed to collect the cargo?
No. I haven't gone there yet.
Et alors? What are you waiting for? This is a matter of the utmost importance. The exchange was to take place near the Église du Gros Caillou, the town next to Les Invalides.
Goodbye, Monsieur le Marquis.
Aegis, a word, s'il vous plaît.
Monsieur Raymond.
Aegis, we are very pleased to see you again. It was very unwise of us to leave the Société without such a capable bodyguard as yourself. It is a miracle that we got here safely.
What do you want to talk to me about?
Have you ever heard of the Club de Massiac, Aegis?
No, monsieur.
It's an association that owners in the Empire. Those from Saint-Domingue and the Petite Santilles are most formidable adversaries. They are waging a war of influence to keep the slave trade going, and resort to the vilest methods to achieve their ends. They worship nothing but money, and their greed is matched only by their cruelty. Regrettably, my interests occasionally require me to suffer their company. 2 months ago, I was in Le Havre to settle some business with the Admiralty, when I overheard a conversation between 2 planters from Bastère. If they are to be believed, the Club de Massiac is plotting to create sleepless slaves, des esclaves sans sommeil. Those were their exact words. It's hard to say what this could possibly mean, but I fear they plan to administer some foul drug to their slaves to force them to toil day and night, without rest. Our organization will not let these poor souls endure such a hell. Aegis, we must look into this. It is a matter of great urgency.
You speak of greed, Monsieur Raymond. But could you enlighten us as to what makes you any different from the planters you condemn?
What exactly do you accuse me of, Monsieur de Robespierre? S'il vous plaît, do tell.
Do you not also exploit the labor of these poor souls yourself on your indigo plantation?
I fight every minute of every day to improve their condition. No one would have the audacity to deny this.
If that's the case, then why wait? Free them. You preach abolition, yet you continue to line your pockets at their expense. The truth is, you refuse to upend the established colonial order because your entire fortune depends on it.
It's easy to criticize from atop Mount Olympus, Maximilian. You know nothing of the realities of Saint-Domingue. What would happen to all these people if I freed them tomorrow? Without an education, without a livelihood, I would be condemning them to the most abject misery. No. I must act with both compassion and realism.
Any reform, revolutionary or not, must be taken step by step, with moderation and prudence.
This reform is not so difficult. I've begun it myself at La Belle Gabrielle, my plantation in Guyane. There you will not find slaves, but workers who earn a weekly wage. And my plantation is no less profitable.
Ah, yes, profit. Because that's the most important thing. Don't you see, the law of nature gives every man the right to cultivate his own land.
Monsieur, calm yourselves. I implore you. Now is no time to quarrel. What Monsieur Raymond has related to us is extremely worrying. We must find out more about this plot to create sleepless slaves as quickly as possible. Aegis, you are the only one who stands a chance of making it to the Hôtel de Massiac alive.
Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the Marais, in the shadow of the Bastille.
Minister Necker claims that you were a familiar face at the Tuileries Palace.
That old story. Will it hound me until I have drawn my last breath? This, madame, is nothing but an unfounded rumor that I am trying in vain to dispel. To what do I owe the displeasure of having to defend myself once again?
I must get hold of some documents that are kept in an armored safe in the King's chambers.
What lock could resist your talents?
Minister Necker said it was indestructible.
Oh, I see. Well, let me think. Who could help you? After all, a lock is nothing more than a simple mechanism. Nothing that can resist the expertise of our dear Monsieur Bailly. Why don't you ask him for help?
I'll be sure to do so.
Now, who else might be of use? Oh, there's Monsieur Lavoisier as well, our gunpowder commissioner. If he were here, I'm sure he'd have no trouble finding you something you could use to blow the door off that stubborn safe.
Sadly, he's still at Luxembourg.
Then it is high time you rescued him, madam. Now, if you'll forgive me, I have an urgent matter to attend to.
You are forgiven for everything.
In that case, it has been a pleasure, madam.
Has anyone seen Monsieur de Mirabeau? Aegis, I'd like to talk to you about my research. Do you have a few moments to spare for me?
Certainly, mon père. I am listening.
I've carefully collected the testimony of our companions here. Then I compared them with the observations made during my investigation of the man who calls himself Cagliostro. I came to quite the shocking conclusion. I believe I have discovered how the royal automats remain constantly in motion, like clocks that never need winding. They get their energy from the souls of the dead, Aegis. They drink from the anima essence that permeates the purgatory described by Monseigneur de la Fare. These machines feed on the dead. The greater the massacre, the deeper the river where they slake their thirst.
Is there any way to stop the bloodshed, mon père?
I believe there is always hope, Aegis. As long as I remain free to pursue my research, I will never lose faith. I keep thinking about the three Nemes. These echoes. All of this is clearly related to Nicholas Flamel's work.
The alchemist?
Precisely, mon ami. And this leads me to fear the worst.
What have we to fear from an alchemist who died nearly 4 centuries ago?
Not him, per se. Rather, the heretic who is exploiting his discoveries. This poses a grave danger to us all.
What do you fear, mon père?
What do I fear? Nearly 2 months ago, the king forbade anyone from setting foot inside the Église Saint-Jacques de la Boucherie, near the Hôtel de Ville. He had the priests forcibly removed. They hardly even had time to save the church's sacred relics. Since then, only our Father in Heaven knows what they've been doing there, hidden away from the people of Paris.
Mon Dieu. Flamel's tomb.
My thoughts exactly, Monseigneur. Legend has it that Flamel was buried with his lapis philosophorum.
What is the lapis philosophorum, mon père?
The philosopher's nature, or even what it might look like. All that is known is that it is said to grant untold riches and eternal life to whoever possesses it. Its very existence is questioned, of course. But if it's true, Just imagine what sinister purpose the king and his accomplices might find for it. We must elucidate this matter at any cost.
Where is this tomb?
In the church's crypt. The priests always ensured that it remained undisturbed, despite the mystery surrounding it. But now they're no longer there to protect it. We need to know for certain.
But how? There are automats everywhere.
Aegis,
Oui, mon père.
will you help us get to the bottom of this?
Did you not say that it was impossible to enter the church?
There is perhaps a solution. The penitent's door behind the Châtelet leads to the Quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. It's only opened on Good Friday, but this year, I had the honor and good fortune to lead the procession. Here is the key.
Goodbye, mon père.
Did you find out what Cagliostro was up to near the Tuileries?
No, not yet.
Remember what Monsieur de Mirabeau told us? He said the Count looked extremely busy near the Tuileries.
I'm looking for a way to force a lock that is supposed to be unbreakable. Monsieur de Mirabeau advised me to ask you for help.
But I'm an astronomer, mon enfant, not a locksmith. I know my way around lenses, filters, racks and tripods. But I've never given a moment's thought to how a lock works. God, Monsieur de Mirabeau was joking with you, that's all. Où est-il, ce brave homme? So that we might ask him.
He has left. A matter that could not wait.
Excuse me? Do you mean he left the convent? That's madness. What was so important that he would put himself in such danger?
Intriguing indeed. to use this mobile walkway. This mobile walkway leads to the depths of the quarry. I will explore the area and try to find a way to make it work. Here we go. That should work. Monsieur Marat's men waged a terrible fight here. Some of these poor men were trampled to death. They barricaded themselves in to escape the enemy. The only way through is the hard way.
Look at them, parading around like peacocks. These scoundrels, rotten to their very core. See how they proudly display their vices and shameful privileges, tirelessly working to drag morality through the mud, trampling love itself.
The Queen is said to have read your liaison before her husband banned it. It's hilarious, isn't it?
I'm not surprised. No matter how hard I work to denounce their immoral practices, the aristocrats saw my novel as nothing more than a light-hearted bit of fluff. How naive I was to imagine that my pen could slice away the gangrene of their debauchery.
Well, fortunately, you have more than one string to your bow, mon capitaine.
Monsieur Marat.
Huh? Hey? Who goes there? Ah, la diable, je m'attendais. So this is the famous Huntress Diana I've heard so much about. Truly, 'tis an honor, madame. Now let me have a look at you. Oh, oui. You're just as they described. An angel of death, descended from the heavens to vanquish the clockwork tyrant.
Who depicted me this way, monsieur?
Mes compagnons, madame. Chief among them is Monsieur Chaudelot de la Clos. They have observed you dispensing justice all over the city. A most expeditious justice at that, as befits the crimes committed by our good king. What a strange machine you are. Gifted with intelligence, clearly, but also with speech and the freedom to do as you please. Cependant, you are still an automat. Who is your master?
Is that I came to Paris.
The poor thing. To what new level of desperation has her husband's madness driven her? Does she finally intend to leave this kingdom, where she should never have set her dainty little feet?
No, monsieur. She means to put an end to her husband's madness.
What, with you? You in what army? That's quite amusing, you must admit.
And you, Monsieur Marat? Who is your master?
I serve not a master, but a cause. That of the Duc d'Orléans. His cousin the king has no place on that throne, and nor does his wretched dynasty.
The Bourbons, along with their wars, their crimes, and their vices, are finished. It's high time their scepter be passed to an enlightened, just monarch. One who is sympathetic to the people's sufferings. But now that I think about it, madame, look at us. We've been standing around chatting like old friends for several minutes, and I still don't know to what I owe the pleasure of your visit.
I must go to the Bastille, where Monsieur de Vaucanson is imprisoned.
Oui. Such a sad fate for a king's lackey. And what do you want with your creator? This man whose blood-stained hands built the army that's currently setting Paris ablaze.
What Vaucanson has done, only Vaucanson can undo.
Fair enough. Alas, while I come and go as I please through these tunnels, it is impossible to enter the fortress.
Impossible, dites-vous?
A sanguinary automat is spreading death and terror in the depths of this quarry. At the cost of their lives, my comrades were able to sabotage the floor of the cave to limit its movements. Nevertheless, it stands between you and the tunnel that leads to the Quartier du Temple. And that's the only way to reach the Bastille.
And yet that's exactly what I intend to do, Monsieur Marat.
À votre guise. I shall not attempt to dissuade you. There is one small thing, though. I had to disable the mobile walkways to protect myself from the automats. But since you managed to come here, I assume you already know a lot about these devices.
Indeed.
Here. This would allow you to reach the lower tunnels. Have you fixed the walkway?
I am working on it, Monsieur Marat.
That's the only way to reach the lower tunnels. The mechanism is on this level, near the walkway.
Who laid on this blood-stained mattress?
Oh, it's a strange story. I suppose you heard about what happened in Place Dauphine?
Indeed. I went there.
Well, we took in one of the survivors of the massacre. The only survivor, it seems. Despite his serious injuries, he was particularly talkative.
What did he tell you?
He kept saying that Lafayette was a traitor in the king's pay. That the flaxen-haired hero had deliberately handed his brand new National Guard over to the Ottomans.
What evidence did your guest have?
Nothing substantial, unfortunately. It was based on a simple rumor that was circulating in the camp shortly before the Royal Army attacked. It would appear that several volunteers carried a yellow cartridge in their cartridge pouches. Most likely a subtle way for the conspirators to recognize each other. The subsequent disaster would tend to confirm this hypothesis. Vous ne croyez pas?
These are suspicions. Nothing more.
Right you are. Oh, if only I had proof of this conspiracy. Then I'd be able to scutter the ambitions of that cur Lafayette for good. The would-be dictator's plans would be foiled.
I must get to the bottom of this urgently.
Very well. I encourage you to do so. But remember that the Marquis could not have acted alone. If you can't find anything implicating him, look into the members of his staff. Start in Place Dauphine, where those brigands sullied the ground with their boots.
Dites-moi, Monsieur Marat. What exactly are you doing hiding in a quarry?
I've made a lot of enemies. In my publications, I have always denounced the corrupt, and those who corrupt them. These vampires who cheat the weak and bleed the nation dry. Chief among them? That crook, Lafayette. That Trenz Sabre. A career soldier who thinks he's Caesar. Not content to maintain an army of rats, this Blondin has all the Châtelet's judges in his pocket. It seems my prose upset him, as he swore to hunt me down. If I hadn't fled, I'd have been done for, there's no doubt about that.
Who are your compagnons?
Patriots who come and go in the quarries throughout the city, under the command of Monsieur Leclos. Alas, there are few left. And I wager that it won't be long before the machines that have taken over our hiding place find me. My hours are numbered. Mais vous-même, have you found any companions for yourself?
Members and supporters of the Third Estate have gathered at the Cordelier convent.
Would you be so kind as to name them?
In addition to Monsieur de Robespierre, the Comte de Mirabeau is there.
Le Flambeau de Provence. An artful chameleon who skillfully dons every colour of the rainbow.
The Marquis de Lafayette, Monseigneur de...
Say no more. They're just the privileged class celebrating the marriage of cowardice and treason. With adversaries like them, the king is sure to triumph.
Who is Monsieur de Leclos?
A brilliant writer whose pen has shaken the old world, but is also an experienced military engineer, who has sworn his sword to our common cause, to his great misfortune, it would appear. There is little doubt that he died leading his men through the tunnels.
Thanks to what I learned from Monsieur Marat, I will use the mobile walkway to reach the lower levels. Voila. That should have fixed the walkway.